Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive. Today we're going deep into the world of artificial intelligence, AI, right?
Exactly.
And to help us navigate this complex topic, we're going to be looking at this really fascinating video from Discovery Brazil.
Yeah, they explore how AI is already impacting our lives.
And they focus specifically on some of the work that IBM is doing in the field.
All right.
But we want to be clear, like, this isn't just an IBM promo.
Yeah.
We're going way beyond just what AI is.
Right.
To try to figure out what it actually means.
For you.
For you.
Out there listening.
For your job. Your
Yeah.
health. Your privacy.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people, when they think of AI, they think of, robots taking over the world,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Very Terminator, very sci-fi.
But the reality is that AI is already here.
Yeah.
It's already integrated into our lives.
And I think that's what's so fascinating about this topic is that we don't even realize
Yeah.
how much we're interacting with AI on a daily basis.
Absolutely. And it's everywhere,
Like how, give me an example.
when you're on Spotify and you get those personalized playlists?
Right.
Or on Netflix,
Yeah.
and it's recommending shows for you, that's AI.
Right. And it's only going to get more.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
When we talk about AI, we're talking about a whole bunch of different techniques and approaches
Yeah.
that are all centered around this idea of machines learning,
Right.
reasoning, and problem solving.
So it's not just one thing.
No, it's not one thing.
It's a whole.
It's a variety of things.
Okay. So how about a specific example
Okay.
that really showcases like what AI can do?
So the video that we watched highlights IBM's Watson.
Yeah.
You familiar with that?
I am. Yeah. Watson. The one that was on Jeopardy.
Yes.
Right.
Won Jeopardy back in 2011.
Yeah. I remember watching that. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, and, it went head-to-head with
Human champions?
Human Champion.
Yeah.
And it won.
It was a really big moment for AI.
Because it showcased this power of machine learning.
But what was it about Watson that was so impressive? Was it just the speed?
I mean, the speed was definitely impressive.
Right.
To be able to, buzz in so quickly.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just about speed.
So it was like processing information and making connections almost like a human would.
Exactly. And it had to do all of this in real time.
Right.
It had to understand complex wordplay,
Right.
nuance, context,
Humor.
even humor sometimes.
Right.
And to be able to come up with those answers,
Yeah.
it was groundbreaking.
Yeah. And do you remember, obviously it was really impressive,
Yeah,
but there were a couple of times where Watson got things wrong.
of course.
Right. And I'm wondering, do you think those mistakes reveal anything about like the limitations of AI?
Definitely. I mean, even Watson with these very sophisticated algorithms
Yeah.
made mistakes, and especially when it came up again.
Like ambiguous clues or like cultural references.
Yeah, anything where it had to really understand
The nuance.
the nuance and like the human element of the question.
Subtext.
The subtext, right.
Yeah.
That's where it sometimes faltered. So it
Yeah.
highlights that, as powerful as AI is,
Yeah.
it's still under development.
Right.
It doesn't have that same level of understanding and intuition
As a human.
as a human.
But they didn't stop at Jeopardy.
No, IBM.
They took on an even bigger challenge.
Yeah, with Project Debater.
Project
What
Debater.
are that all about?
So Project Debater was this AI system that was designed to engage in actual debates with humans.
Oh, wow.
You can imagine like this AI system formulating arguments,
Yeah.
crafting rebuttals,
Crafting rebuttals.
even using humor to win over an audience.
So was it like as cool as it sounds?
The video shows Project Debater analyzing millions of articles
Okay.
to be able to build its case.
Yeah.
It's able to identify key arguments,
Right.
anticipate counterpoints,
Wow.
and even adapt its strategy.
Based on the opponent?
Yeah, based on the opponent's responses.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like having this super-powered research assistant
Right.
right by your side.
Yeah, just like ready to argue any point.
Yeah.
So is it convincing, though?
I think it demonstrated incredible reasoning ability.
Yeah.
But it didn't quite replicate.
Didn't quite have the same, like, spark.
Yeah, it didn't have that nuance and that
Yeah.
emotional intelligence
Yes.
of a human debater.
So it could make the arguments,
Yes.
but it didn't necessarily have the human touch.
Not quite.
Yeah.
There were moments when the arguments felt a little formulaic,
Right.
lacking that persuasive power.
Of a human storyteller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like emotion, storytelling.
So it's really highlighting those intangible aspects of human communication.
Exactly. And it makes you appreciate how complex we are.
as humans.
Yeah.
So AI can analyze data
Yeah.
and craft logical arguments.
Yeah.
But it still kind of struggles with like
Those things that make us human. You know, our emotions, creativity, critical thinking, those are still very much human domains.
Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about self-driving cars.
Okay.
I mean, this has been like a dream.
It has since like the Jetsons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the question is it actually safe?
That's a big question.
Yeah. Can we really trust AI behind the wheel?
It's something that the video really explores in detail.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest challenges for self-driving cars
I bet.
is really navigating
The real world.
the chaos of the real world.
Right.
You think about unpredictable weather conditions.
Right.
Sudden changes in traffic.
Yeah, pedestrians.
Pedestrian.
Not paying attention.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot for even a human driver to handle.
Yeah.
So how do AI systems deal with that level of unpredictability?
That's a great question.
Yeah, and that's where the limitations of current AI
become apparent.
Yeah, they become apparent.
Right.
You know, AI is really good at processing data and following rules.
Okay.
But it struggles with
the split-second decision-making.
Yeah, that intuition.
Right.
You know, things that human drivers just do instinctively.
Right.
AI is not quite there yet.
So it can handle, like, routine driving situations?
Yes.
But when things get a little dicey?
Yeah, a little hairy.
It's like, okay, human, you got to take over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The video highlights this by showing a blind marathon runner.
I remember that.
Who uses this AI-powered wristband for navigation.
Yeah.
And it's a really amazing example of how AI can augment human abilities.
Yeah.
But it also kind of shows the limitations of these fully autonomous systems.
It was really inspiring to see that.
It was.
That story,
yeah.
how AI could give someone who's blind that ability to run a marathon.
Right.
But I do remember they had some issues along the way.
They did.
Yeah, like the system wasn't perfect.
Yeah, there were times when the AI miscalculated turns.
Right.
Or struggled with obstacles.
And they needed a human to step in.
Yeah. Yeah, they needed some human intervention.
And I think that's a really important takeaway.
It is.
From all this is that
yeah.
AI can be this incredibly powerful tool.
Yes.
But it's not a foolproof solution.
Right.
Right? We still need that human oversight.
Especially in those complex or unpredictable situations.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about AI replacing humans.
Right.
It's about AI and humans working together.
It's a partnership.
A partnership.
Yeah.
Yeah. Augmenting human capabilities.
So how does it actually work?
How does what work?
Like, how does AI learn to navigate the world? Make decisions. Adapt to new situations. Is it magic?
Well, it's not magic.
Okay.
Although it can seem that way sometimes.
Yeah.
But the core technology behind AI is something called machine learning.
Okay. Machine learning.
Machine learning.
Break it down for me.
Okay. So at its simplest,
yeah.
Machine learning is the ability of machines to learn from data.
Okay.
Identify patterns and improve their performance over time.
So like teaching a machine to think for itself?
Well, it's not exactly thinking in the way that we think.
Okay.
But it's more like learning and adapting.
Okay.
So machine learning relies on these things called algorithms,
okay.
which are basically sets of instructions that guide the learning process.
Okay.
These algorithms analyze tons of data.
I see.
Looking for patterns and correlations.
So the more data, the better.
The more data, the better.
Okay.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Every time you use a search engine or interact with a social media platform or buy something online.
All those data points.
You're contributing to this massive data pool
yeah.
that fuels AI's learning.
Which is kind of mind-blowing.
It is pretty amazing.
But it also raises some concerns.
Of course it does.
Like, who owns all this data?
Yeah.
And what are they doing with it?
Right. And that leads us into all these ethical considerations that surround AI.
We're going to get into that a little bit later.
Yeah, well, definitely in part 2.
But before we move on, can you give me an example of, like, early machine learning?
Yeah.
Something that, like, you know, kind of demonstrated its potential.
So the video talks about this program from way back in the 1950s that learned to play checkers. Checkers.
Okay.
Yeah, and it might sound simple.
Yeah.
But at the time, this was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
To have a machine learn and adapt.
Through experience.
Her experience.
So even back then, they were like toying with these ideas of
we were exploring
the possibilities.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And, you know, this checkers program wasn't explicitly programmed for every possible scenario.
So someone didn't have to sit there and teach it.
No, it was basically given the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And then it was allowed to play
against itself.
Thousands of games against itself.
Oh, yeah. So it basically...
Learned by playing itself.
How does that work? So there's this concept called reinforcement learning.
Yeah.
Where the program basically got feedback for every move it made.
Positive feedback for winning moves.
Exactly.
And negative feedback for losing moves.
Uh-huh.
And over time, it started to associate
certain patterns and strategies
with success.
With success.
So through trial and error.
Yeah.
And a lot of error, probably.
A lot of error at first.
It learned how to play checkers at a high level.
And that same principle.
That's wild.
It is wild.
Yeah.
And that same principle is used today.
Right.
In much more complex AI systems.
So what started with checkers has now evolved into...
self-driving cars.
Self-driving cars, robots that can do all these crazy things.
Those sorts of things.
That's really amazing.
It is amazing to see how far it's come.
But it makes you wonder, where is this all heading?
That is the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where is AI going next?
And that's something
that we'll explore.
We're going to explore in the next part. In the next part of our deep dive.
All right, so stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of AI. You know, before we get too far into the future, I'm still thinking about all that data we were just talking about.
Yeah.
It's a little unsettling to think that everything we do online is fueling AI's learning process.
It's true. Data is like the lifeblood of AI.
Right.
And it's a source of, a lot of debate.
Yeah.
Ethical scrutiny.
So what are some of the biggest concerns?
Well, one of the major concerns is privacy.
Okay.
As AI systems are gathering more and more information about us, our online behavior, our purchases.
Even like our conversations.
Even our conversations, right.
Right.
It really raises these questions about...
who owns that data?
Yeah.
Who owns it?
How are they using it?
How are they using it? And is our privacy being compromised?
It's like that old saying, if you're not paying for the product, you are the product.
Exactly.
Like, are we trading our privacy for the convenience that AI offers?
That's a really valid concern, and it's something that the video brings up.
Yeah.
It compares the convenience of these AI-powered devices, like your Alexa.
Yeah, our Google Homes.
Yeah, and those, to the potential for surveillance and data collection.
We just invite these devices into our homes.
Right into our most private spaces.
Without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Do you ever stop and think like,
what are the trade-offs here?
Yeah.
Yeah, the video uses a really stark example.
Oh, yeah.
Of how AI can be used for control. It talks about China and their use of facial recognition technology.
It's a little scary.
It is a little bit dystopian.
It's like straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, like Big Brother is watching you.
They're monitoring people's movements, and they're using it to punish people.
For minor infractions.
I read about that. Like, you can get publicly shamed.
For jaywalking.
For jaywalking. Come on.
I know, right?
That seems a little extreme.
Yeah, it raises this question of like...
Where do we draw the line?
Yeah, where's the line between using AI for legitimate purposes, like public safety, and then using it for, intrusive surveillance?
So it's not just about the technology itself. It's about how it's being used.
Exactly who's controlling it.
Yeah, and what are their intentions?
Right.
It feels like there's a lot of responsibility.
There's a huge amount of responsibility.
On the people who are developing and deploying these systems.
Absolutely. And the video really stresses that.
Yeah.
That we need to prioritize ethics. Yeah. It's not enough to just create these powerful technologies.
Right.
We need to make sure that they're being used responsibly and ethically.
But how do we do that?
Well, it starts with transparency.
Okay.
Companies and governments need to be open about how they're using AI.
So, like, what kind of data are they collecting?
Exactly what are they using it for?
Okay.
And we as consumers need to demand that transparency.
Hold their feet to the fire.
Hold them accountable. Exactly.
It's like we need to have a public dialogue about this. Right. Educate ourselves, understand the benefits, the risks.
Have those conversations.
And really decide what kind of future we want.
Yeah, it can't just be left up to...
the tech companies.
Yeah, or the governments.
Yeah, we all need to be involved.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we need to be informed, engaged, and vocal about our concerns.
Yes.
But what about jobs?
Ah, yes, the big question.
Yeah, a lot of people are worried about this.
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout history, new technologies have come along.
Right.
And disrupted industries. Displaced workers.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that
we've adapted before.
We always adapt. We find new jobs, new opportunities.
Right.
It's about recognizing those shifts.
Being willing to learn new skills.
Absolutely. And being open to the possibilities that AI creates.
Well, it's not necessarily about being replaced.
No.
It's more about how can AI help us do our jobs better?
Exactly.
Yeah, like working together.
Like that example in the video of the robot.
Or the factory.
Yeah, the factory where the robot is working alongside the human.
Yeah, making their jobs safer and more efficient.
Exactly. So it's about augmenting
right.
human capabilities.
Not replacing us.
Not replacing. Okay. It's a partnership.
So instead of fearing AI, we should be thinking about how do we leverage this?
Yeah, how can we use it to our advantage?
To create a better future for everyone. Okay, so we've talked about data privacy.
Yeah.
The impact on jobs.
Uh-huh.
But the video also touched on AI's potential in education.
Yeah, education is a really exciting area.
Yeah, tell me more about that.
Well, AI has the potential to personalize education.
Okay.
Make it more accessible and engaging.
I like that.
You can imagine AI-powered tutors.
Oh, wow.
That can adapt to individual learning styles.
Right, so not everyone learns the same way.
Exactly. Yeah. They can give real-time feedback.
Okay.
Create customized learning paths.
Wow.
And this could be a game changer for students who maybe struggle.
In a traditional classroom?
Yeah, in a traditional setting or who need more individualized attention.
That's awesome.
The video shows this really heartwarming story.
Oh, yeah.
About a kindergarten teacher.
I remember that.
Who's using this AI app to help her students learn new vocabulary.
It was really inspiring.
It was.
Yeah.
And it's a great example of how AI can bridge those educational gaps.
Right.
And help all students succeed.
But as we're like integrating AI into education.
Yeah.
We have to do it ethically and responsibly.
Of course.
Right.
We need to be mindful of potential bias in algorithms.
Right.
Make sure that it's accessible to all students.
Yeah.
And that we're still prioritizing human interaction and connection.
Because at the end of the day,
yeah,
education is about human connection.
It is.
Yeah, it's not just about feeding information into a computer.
Exactly. And, technology should be a tool.
Yeah.
It should empower educators and students.
Not replace them.
Not replace that human element.
Okay, so we've talked about data privacy, jobs, education.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
And there's one more kind of mind-blowing concept that the video explores.
What's that?
Artificial general intelligence.
Oh, yes, AGI.
Or AGI.
The holy grail of AI research.
This is where it gets a little sci-fi.
A little bit.
Yeah, what is that all about?
So AGI refers to machines that have the same level of general intelligence.
As humans.
As humans.
Okay.
Capable of learning and solving problems across a wide range of domains.
Like, that's basically like creating another intelligent species.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
It is pretty wild, but is it even possible?
Well, true, AGI is still a long way off.
Okay.
But recent advances in AI have definitely made people think.
Like it could actually happen.
Yeah, it could actually happen. And the video talks about the potential benefits and the risks.
Right.
And it really sparks this discussion about the future of intelligence itself.
I'm excited, but also a little terrified by this idea.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword.
So what are some of the potential benefits?
Well, some people believe that AGI could revolutionize science, solve complex global challenges.
Like what?
Climate change, poverty, even enhance human creativity.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's a lot of potential for good.
But what about the risks?
Well, the risks are significant too.
Yeah, I mean, what happens if we create these machines that are smarter than us?
Right, and what if they decide they don't need us anymore?
Or what if they decide they have different goals?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and the video acknowledges these concerns.
Yeah.
That AGI could lead to unintended consequences.
Right.
It could exceed our control.
And it could even pose an existential risk.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It really is.
Yeah, it's a very complex issue.
On one hand, it could solve all our problems.
Yes.
But on the other, it could create a whole new set of problems.
Problems we can't even imagine yet.
Right.
Yeah, it raises these big questions.
About the nature of intelligence.
About consciousness.
Our place in the universe.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
And the video doesn't really give us any easy answers.
No, it doesn't.
But it does emphasize.
It does emphasize.
That we need to approach this with caution.
With a lot of caution.
Yeah.
We need to prioritize ethical considerations and have these global conversations.
About the potential implications of AGI.
About what kind of future we want to create.
Sounds like we need to have some serious conversations.
We do.
About the future we want to build.
Yeah, because the development of AI is a human endeavor.
Right.
And its trajectory depends on the choices we make.
So it's not just about letting technology run wild.
No, it's about making conscious decisions.
Being deliberate.
And being engaged.
Yeah. That brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive.
Part 2 down.
We've covered data privacy, impact on jobs, the potential of AI in education.
Yeah, and the mind-boggling concept of AGI.
In our final part, we're going to explore some key takeaways.
Okay.
And discuss what steps we can take to ensure that AI is a force for good in the world.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Stick around. Welcome back to our deep dive into AI. We've really been all over the place, haven't we?
We have.
From, how AI is showing up in our daily lives to, like, the far-out idea of
AGI. Yeah.
It's clear that AI is already having a huge impact on the world.
It really is, and that impact's only going to grow.
Yeah, and that's why I think these conversations that we're having are so important.
Absolutely.
We really need to think about the future of AI and all of the good and the bad that comes with it.
Absolutely. We need to think about the benefits, but also, those potential risks.
So as we kind of wrap up our deep dive here, what are some key takeaways?
What are some things that our listeners should really keep in mind?
Exactly.
Okay, well, I think one of the most important things to remember is that AI isn't just this one thing.
Right.
It's not a single entity.
Right. It's not like one giant robot brain controlling everything.
It's really this diverse field with all sorts of different technologies and applications.
Ethical implications.
Ethical considerations are huge.
So we can't just lump it all together.
No, we need to approach it with nuance.
And think about each specific technology.
Exactly.
And how it might impact us.
On a case-by-case basis.
Another thing that really struck me is that AI isn't something
from the future.
Yeah, like way off in the future.
Right.
It's here.
It's already here.
Right now.
It's integrated into our lives.
And a lot of times we don't even realize it.
I know. Think about it. I mean,
yeah.
Those personalized recommendations you get on your streaming services,
yeah.
The algorithms that are curating your social media feeds.
It's all AI.
It's all AI.
And it's influencing us in ways that we may not even be fully aware of.
Yeah, so it's important to be informed and engage.
Like we were saying before.
Yeah.
We need to understand how AI is being used.
Yeah, what data is being collected.
What are the implications for our privacy, our jobs?
Our society as a whole.
The video really made that point.
It did.
It's not about, rejecting AI altogether.
No.
It's about being aware.
Yeah, being informed, asking questions.
Holding those companies accountable.
Demanding transparency.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we need to be informed, engaged, and aware.
Yes.
But what can we actually do?
What can we do on a practical level?
Yeah, to make sure that AI is developed.
In a responsible way.
In a responsible, ethical way.
Well, there are definitely things we can do.
Okay.
First, we can support companies that are prioritizing ethical AI development.
So do your research before you just buy something.
Exactly.
Or use a service.
Look for companies that are transparent about their practices.
Okay.
They're prioritizing user privacy.
Yeah.
They're working to mitigate bias in their algorithms.
So they're thinking about these things.
They're thinking about it, yeah.
Okay, that's great.
We can also advocate for policies that promote responsible AI development.
So, get involved.
Get involved, yeah.
Contact your elected officials.
Exactly. Support legislation that protects our privacy.
Okay.
Push for regulations that make sure that AI is being used for good.
For the benefit of humanity.
Yes.
And then I guess just keep learning.
Yeah.
Keep educating ourselves.
Stay up to date on what's happening in the field.
Yeah.
And engage in these discussions.
Have those conversations.
Exactly.
So it's like a multi-pronged approach.
It is.
Be informed consumers.
Yeah.
Advocate for responsible policies. And just keep learning.
And keep learning.
Because it's a rapidly changing field.
It is. Yeah. And it's changing all the time.
And I think the big takeaway for me is that the future of AI is not set in stone.
No, it's not predetermined.
Yeah, it's something that we're creating.
We are creating it right now.
With every choice we make.
Every decision we make.
Yeah, so it's not about, being swept away by technology.
Yeah.
It's about being conscious.
Yeah. And engaged in shaping the future.
Yeah, shaping it in a way that benefits all of us.
That's the goal.
Well, that's it for our deep dive into the world of AI. Hopefully this has sparked your curiosity.
Got you thinking.
Yeah, got you thinking. And maybe even a little bit concerned.
A little bit concerned, maybe.
But I think ultimately this is a really exciting field.
It is.
With a lot of potential.
A lot of potential for good.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking those tough questions.
Yeah, the future of AI is in our hands.
Let's make it a future that we can all be proud of.
Absolutely.